So does the rise of AI affect the real estate industry? Yes, but that doesn't mean it has to replace you. In fact, it can help you earn a lot more money and be more efficient. And I'm going to show you 9 ways to do it. So number 1, your database is dead weight. Let's just acknowledge it. Most of you are struggling with what to say, who to say it to, how frequently to say it. Many of you look at your database as just this big disorganized mess. You need to be using AI to clean that up and send the right messages to the right people at the right time so you can tap into the gold mine that your database should actually be. Point 2 is that speed kills. Speed absolutely kills. As a busy real estate professional, you're constantly juggling and spinning plates and moving from this priority to that priority. And somehow, in the midst of that, you're supposed to immediately respond to every new lead when it comes in. That's a gap that's just not reasonable to fill without truly intelligent automation. AI can provide that for you today. And the best ways to do it are to understand the time variables that every different lead source has. For example, I'm just gonna unpack this a little bit for you, right? If I'm at my computer and I do a long tail keyword search, that means I'm putting lots of details into the internet, like I'm looking for a home with a minimum of 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, a pool, above this price point, below this price point, in this school district. I've fed a lot of information in there. That's an indication that I have near-term intent. My lead quality is much higher because of that search. Now let's compare that with someone who has really low intent. Most of the world wakes up and they reach for their phone before they even get out of bed. Many of us start our day scrolling Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, right? And when we're there, we might be exposed to a real estate topic. Well, guess what? We don't go to Instagram to search for houses to buy, right? We don't go to Instagram to find the real estate professional who's gonna help us sell our home. We just get exposed to real estate when we're there. So all of those people who indicate interest and become a lead for you through social media, the goal should be to build a relationship with that person over time, such that when they're ready to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, you're the natural choice. And the biggest thing that's going to separate you from your competition is your ability to use this technology in a way to transfer trust authentically. So think about all those people you've worked with in the past, all those people who've referred clients to you. They're experts in your ability to provide great service. This stranger, this brand new lead, he doesn't know why they should work with you. You just show up as another agent. You're just one of a million people who could help them. The trick is to authentically transfer that knowledge from these people who are experts in your ability to serve to these people who are looking for someone to serve them at a really high level. Your competition isn't doing that. And if you do it, you're going to win. Third point is that personalization without AI is a lie, right? We're in a new frontier here. It's possible to leverage AI to understand who you are, to capture your tone, your personality, the essential elements of who you are, and then leverage that to communicate with your database authentically. Think of the content that came from your brokerage-provided CRM. How did that get written? Did somebody talk to you? Did they listen to your goals? Did they consider your personal background and expertise? No. What they did is they got together as a committee and they said, okay, the people sending this content are in real estate, so we need real estate content. There's such a huge difference between the type of one-size-fits-all content that came with the system you have and the true benefits of leveraging AI to create highly personalized content. So I need to really stress this, guys, because for 15 years at my company, I've taken the time to interview real estate professionals and understand what's truly unique and special about them and to create content that's authentic to who they are. This content has proven its ability to help people scale, to grow their GCI, to enhance their relationships, to change their lives. And today, artificial intelligence lets us do something we've never been able to do before. And that's to take the authentic you and in real time, apply it to events that are happening now without your involvement. That should be a mind-blown moment because it lets you communicate authentically at scale based on the relationship you have with those people in your database with content that's relevant to the market conditions you're currently operating in. This is huge. In short, AI can be you better than you because 24/7, 365, it's alive and it's awake and it's paying attention. It can help you enhance the relationships you have with people in the database if and only if you follow this next piece of advice. This is absolutely critical. AI's role should be to start the conversations that you get to have. Never, never, never allow the AI to have the conversation for you. This is a key thing that you must embrace because if the public ever gets to the point where they feel more comfortable conversing with your AI, where is your future in the real estate industry? Only you, as a human being, can really have that authentic relationship with the consumers you serve. So agents who are smart enough to use AI to start the conversation will never have to worry about being replaced by AI. And yet that does not mean AI cannot replace so many parts of your role that you consider drudgery. I know all those efforts that you have to do day in and day out can be done much more efficiently by AI. Think about the areas in life where you know you have to show up consistently to get results. Okay, fitness is a good example for this. Let's imagine the summer at the beach is months away. And you know now if you want to look good on the beach, you're going to have to eat right, you're going to have to exercise, you're going to have to prepare for that moment in time. But if you hate doing sit-ups and you hate eating right, there's no reasonable expectation you're going to reach that goal to look good in your bathing suit in summer, right? That just makes sense. So now let's apply this to database. Right? There are things that you have to do with database very consistently. You can't just communicate once and say that it's done. You have to consistently message people over time. Consistency is undefeated. If you're more consistent than your competition, you are going to win, period. AI can help you have that level of consistency without you being the one who has to do all the sit-ups by yourself. You just have to take the time to get the system and structure in place to do the sit-ups for you. That's what this is all about today, right? And when we apply this, we've got to start with the follow-up system you have in place now, because 99 times out of 100, it's broken. I promise you, after working with tens of thousands of real estate professionals all across the US and Canada, in most cases, their database is broken, right? In most cases, their follow-up system is failing. Why? The number one problem is organization, right? And I can't fault you for this. Yes, it's hard to keep a database organized. It's a challenge to do that. That's a task that AI can do much more efficiently than you can. Now, I get it. If it sounds overwhelming and you want help with this, if you'd rather just go, I don't want to do all the sit-ups, I want somebody to help me do them for me, just go to this link, happygrasshopper.com/strategy. You can book a complimentary call with one of our database experts, and we'll take the time to look at your actual database, and we'll show you the potential, the amount of deals that you're missing out every year because you haven't done the things that are necessary to truly have success with your database. If there's one thing that I've learned over the past 15 years, it's that the data just doesn't lie. In fact, if we can be brave enough to take our ego and set it aside and just do the things that the data says will work, we're never going to be disappointed. If you have good data, you can make good decisions. And I feel so privileged to have nurtured over 100 million contacts during my career. That is a massive data set that means we just do not need to guess about how to create the results that you're seeking. When you book that call, happygrasshopper.com/strategy, whether it's myself or a member of my staff that meets with you, if you qualify, we will guarantee results with our service, right? That's how certain we are in the data. If you have good data, you can make good decisions. The first step is to say you don't have to have all the data yourself. you can leverage the data that others have generated. So look around the real estate industry, right? Who's that person in your market who's thriving at the highest levels? What are they doing? You might look at them and go, oh, Dan, that's not fair. They've been at it so long. They're investing so much in lead generation. I can't afford to do those things. Well, I promise you, they didn't start where they are today. They built up progress to it over time. And in your real estate career, the data is absolutely certain that every year it should get easier and easier to achieve your goals, because every year there's a growing pool of people who are experts on the quality job that you've done, right? All those past clients, all those vendors that you've referred, all those other agents that you've collaborated with to get through a transaction, they all become experts in your ability to serve people at a high level. That can become an army of referral sources for you when you're smart about leveraging communication with those cohorts. That's a super geeky way of saying send the right message to the right people and you'll get the right result. Now, when we evaluate what it takes to be successful, we do it based on data. And data just tells us everything we need to know about how to help people. So you've heard the 80-20 rule, right? That the Pareto principle, 20% of agents do 80% of the volume. That is absolutely not true today. 5% of the agents do 95% of the volume in the real estate industry. It's a true 95-5 business. And most likely if you're watching this, you're not in that 5%. Most likely, you're in that most common category of real estate agents who feel really hopeful about their career, hopeful about their potential to rise up and become part of that 5%. I'm here to tell you, you don't have to invent how to do that. No one in real estate has to invent how to be successful in real estate. There are plenty of examples there. You just have to look at your particular strengths and find ways to amplify them. AI can help you do that. And again, if you need our help, just use that link below. So one mistake that I see a lot of people making in real estate is that they're only focused, they're only giving their time and attention to people in the database who are ready now, right? That is a huge mistake because most of the leads that you generate are not today leads. That's the exception. Most leads that are generated today are going to be ready at some point, often distant future, before they're really ready to engage with you in a real estate transaction. So you must have a strategy to nurture 100% of those people until such a time that they're ready to work with you, right? That is something that AI can do better than you can. And it just doesn't make sense to spend a single dime on lead generation if you don't have the playbook in place to convert that opportunity over time. So my friend Jared James has a phrase I love. He says, consistency is undefeated. And he's absolutely right. Consistency beats everything. Hey, maybe you're the most creative real estate professional ever. Maybe you have a super charming personality. Everybody wants to spend more time with you. That's like a superpower to have. But all of those things will be easily defeated by the person who consistently shows up day in and day out as a positive force in the lives of people that they're privileged to serve. Let's break this down in a couple different ways. Those of you who may be active on social media, you probably understand there's an algorithm that social media is using to determine who they should show your content to, right? This is a very critical place where consistency yields positive impact for you. If you just show up every now and then on social media, well, the social media channels, they don't see you as a reliable person to build an audience for. It'd be like inviting thousands of people to come watch this particular performer, and then that performer doesn't always show up. Like, that's a risky thing for them to do. So you've got to train the algorithms at social media that you're consistent. Now, the same sort of consistency pays huge dividends with email deliverability. Today, the very best, most effective way to assure that you land in the inbox without going to the promotional folder, without going to spam, is to send small bursts of content very consistently. So let's imagine a hypothetical situation a lot of real estate agents have. They wake up and they say, you know what? Today's the day. I'm gonna finally get my database in shape. I'm gonna get my contacts organized, and I'm gonna reach out to re-engage all these people. Well, you know, maybe you've got 1,000 old contacts that haven't heard from you in a while. Maybe you have 10,000. You know, maybe you're a huge broker owner, a team owner, you've got tens, hundreds of thousands at least. Whatever that number is, you're gonna get much better results by breaking it down into small bite-sized chunks and training the algorithms at the email companies that you're a safe sender. So here's how this works. Let's do easy math. Let's say that you had 10,000 contacts that needed to be re-engaged. Well, if we're sending from a brand new IP address, we've got to warm that IP address up over time. So we'd break that down into very small sends, as few as 30 to 50 messages per day from that domain, right? And as we start to do that, as we show up very consistently, doing that day in and day out over time, the send reputation related to that activity is going to go up. And then it's safe to increase the volume of messages that you're delivering. Okay? The days of being able to load 100,000 people into some email marketing engine and blast messages to all those people at the same time are gone. If you try to deploy that strategy today, it's going to do far more harm than good. So I'm going to encourage you, start small, start with those bite-sized chunks, and use AI to be super, super consistent. Data doesn't lie, and AI can use data and leverage it for you better than anything we've ever had available at any point in human history. It is a truly astounding time to be alive. Now, early in my career, I had a mentor, William Harris III. We called him Billy. And he taught me that, Dan, if you have good data, you can make good decisions. And based on the strength of that, I've been able to build multiple very successful companies. Data does not lie. If you embrace the data and you set your ego aside and you change your behavior based on what the data says, you can create meaningful results in a very, very predictable way. So let me give you an instance where this applies in the real estate profession. For this example, I'm going to imagine the What Is My Home Worth webpage, right? So maybe you're marketing this via a small pay-per-click spend. Maybe you've got a social media campaign that's driving traffic to a landing page where people can enter their property address, and then you prepare a CMA that shows them what the value of their home is, right? That's a sound strategy. And yet for many of you, you've got some leaks where opportunity is getting away from you. One of them would be the overnight response. If your daytime response is exactly the same as your overnight response, that's an area where opportunity is getting away from you. Right? We shouldn't pretend we're alive and awake at 3 in the morning. And particularly as it relates to this type of lead, what do you think the value is of someone who's up at 3 in the morning asking what their home is worth? That lead is possibly much better than a lead that comes in at 10 a.m., right? This is a person who can't sleep. They're really concerned about the value of their property. Your system, whichever system you're using, you need to set it up to be smart enough to understand the difference in value between a 10 a.m. lead and a 3 a.m. lead. And I'll give you a simple idea of a sequence that you could leverage for this. During your daytime hours, you might have an autoresponder go from the landing page. They get that immediately. They know for sure it's not a real human being. There's no doubt there. You've certainly had that experience yourself. You get the instant lead response, you know it's automated. You get the instant lead response, your reaction is, oh, this is a bot, right? So you have to do things that make you seem more human. And to do this, I'm going to recommend a strategy where you use a combination of outreach tactics. This will include text messaging. It will include email messaging. It will include ringless voicemail drops. So for example, let's imagine a lead comes in right now to your website. It's 10 a.m. Your lead is immediately captured. It gets that autoresponder from the website. The most effective thing you could do is automate a text message that goes out about 2 minutes later. And it says something very simple. It's got to address them by their first name. Hi, Grant. Thanks for finding my website. I'm just about to walk into a meeting, but we'll call in around 20 minutes. In the meantime, what would you like me to know about your home search? Thanks, right? Wow, that feels like somebody's alive and awake and actually engaging with this prospect now. Of course, we're 100% relying on automation to do that. 20 minutes later, maybe you're still busy working on whatever project you were, maybe you're still in a client meeting. All those plates that you keep spinning in a real estate career, you must have automation to automate these next steps for you. So, for example, we can write a script, you can record a ringless voicemail drop, our system can deliver that automatically. And maybe that script says something like, hey, it's me, Dan Stewart, just following up with you like I promised I would from XYZ Home Sales. Anyway, I check your email for me. I'm gonna send an email to you now and call me back. You've got my direct line. It's blah, 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 blah. Thank you, bye. Did you notice all the ums and ahs I put in there? That was super intentional. You don't want your automated ringless voicemail drop to feel so polished that you don't seem like a real human. It's not a radio commercial, it's a voicemail. How do you leave voicemails? You don't typically sound super polished. So be authentic to who you actually are in that content, you'll get a better result. So you may have noticed in my text, I set an expectation I would be calling. In my call, I set an expectation I'd be emailing. What we're doing is we're building trust with a stranger through automation by consistently doing what we say we're going to do over time. That's how we build trust with strangers. And if you're paying attention, you'll remember consistency is what? It's undefeated. That's what you need to do in your business. So now that you've got an idea of what that daytime response sequence is, let's contrast that if we sent the same thing for that 3 a.m. lead. Not gonna land very well, is it? You know, you don't wanna say I'm in a meeting and I'll call you in about 20 minutes at 3 a.m. That doesn't make a lot of sense. So you must have an overnight response that's really authentic, right? You could use a ringless voicemail drop. You could use email. You could use text messaging, but you have to be aware of what time it is. Do you really want their phone getting a text message at 3 in the morning? Probably not, right? So I would recommend using an email to say, hi Grant, thanks for finding me online. It's the middle of the night and that's why I'm not calling. What time tomorrow would be a great time for us to connect? I'll follow up with you tomorrow. Thanks, bye. Simple, relevant to the moment in time, relevant to their search, relevant to the time of day that it's sent out. So again, consistency beats everything else. You need to have a system that will consistently execute on these behaviors when you're asleep, when you're working with clients, when you're holding a transaction together. This is the strength that AI can provide your business. So think about what happens when you set an expectation and it gets fulfilled with automation. That's the magic of building trust over time, and that's how relationships scale using AI. You must leverage technology to be more trustworthy with the people in your database. And that's how relationships can scale if you let them. And if you want to press the easy button, don't forget, I'm here for you. Just follow the link below, happygrasshopper.com/strategy. And if you want a breakdown of how we can do all this for you, just click right here and watch this video.